we wake, hear the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun. We know what we have, let's hold on tight. Found what we're looking for in life. Call us crazy, but things are finally right. With you and I, the future is bright. Oh, you and I, we got it. Oh, we don't need no can weather any storm before sleep.
Today's the day. It's the ERA test. Waiting in the lobby to go in and have it done. I'm looking forward to it being over. I'm a little anxious, to be honest. I feel like I'm gonna throw up. I know I try to be encouraging and everything, but I feel very sick to my stomach right now. It's just real life reality stuff. So I took my Tylenol a little later than I think I was supposed to, so we'll see how this goes.
Hey guys, it's 10:30. I just dropped Anna off and I came back to the hotel to check out because we were running late. We didn't have time to get everything packed up. So checkout was at 11. I was able to come back and now I'm gonna go back. If you saw our story, you know that the hotel is pretty much in the same complex as the fertility clinic. So I'm gonna head down to the clinic. Obviously I can't go inside again, it stinks. She's been texting me, she's still waiting in the waiting room. So let's see if we can drive by and see her.
We're done. Obviously I'm a little pale, but it was a little painful, but it doesn't take very long. I'm gonna talk with the nurse and we're gonna sign some papers and go over like what the plan is for next time. So first of all, we never really explained what the ERA test is, so we figured we would do that now. We were gonna do that this morning, but we kind of ran out of time and got ready for breakfast and stuff. But I'm gonna read it just because I'm not a professional and I'm gonna read it from the actual site. So it's done by an outside company because it's experimental. They're the company that does the ERA that kind of created it. And it says here on their website that it's a genetic test performed on a very small sample of a woman's endometrial lining to determine which day would be the best day to transfer the embryo during an IVF cycle. The sample taken is also referred to as an ERA or biopsy, and the whole procedure in general is called either the ERA test or ERA testing. The ERA stands for like endometrial receptivity array. It's kind of like a blueprint for the next step, which is hopefully an embryo transfer. So because our results were so good last time, our lining was great, our blood work up where all of our hormone levels were great. I have like, there's like a third line that they can see in an ultrasound that says like you're super fertile or like you're a super good candidate for embryos. I had that, and they transferred 2 embryos that have great quality embryos, top of the line quality, and we also know that they've been successful with these embryos. If you've seen our last video, you know that we have a new Snowflake sibling for our future kids, which is awesome. So we know that they're good embryos. So the doctor just gave them a question like, why did it fail when all of these things are good? So the first thing that they're going to think about is receptivity of the uterine lining. So in order for an embryo to implant, you have to have a good fertility window. You have to be receptive, and about 20%, I read, 1 out of every 5 women have a different window that's not textbook. So it's a pretty good chance that that's why. And because we've adopted these beautiful embryos and we have 5 left, the doctor knows that that it's a good idea to go ahead and do this test. So when researching up on it, it's normally for people who've had multiple failed transfers, miscarriages, or they're older. So we ended up doing everything that you would normally do for an embryo transfer. So we went and had the blood workup done to prove that you've passed ovulation, and then after that we started the medications process of the loop run injections, the estradiol tablets, the estrogen patches, and then we started the progesterone and oil, which basically helps your uterus get receptive, basically. So that's what we're trying to figure out with this test. And so after all of that, like you normally would do at the end of it, so today we could have done an embryo transfer of our next 1 or 2 embryos. However, for the ERA, you do a biopsy. So sometimes there's like long straw with barbs on it, and it kind of sucks up the tissue samples while you're scratching the heck out of your uterus, and it feels like that too. And they put it in a tube through the catheter, and then they take it. So today they actually they had some trouble getting it started. They thought they'd have to get the ultrasound tech in there because they normally don't do it with that. I just took, some people do twilight versions, I guess I read, they give you some happy medicine. They told us just to take some Tylenol this morning before the test, and you definitely can still feel it, but it doesn't last extremely long. It was probably about 2 minutes from when it finally started, but he had trouble finding the angle of the cervix to get all the tools in there to do what he needed to do for the biopsy. But once he got that in, it was pretty quick and swift. So to answer a question that I'm sure you guys have, I know you can kind of tell a little bit that I've been crying. A lot of that has to do with just emotions and the fertility drugs, but there's just another reason, and I think I'm gonna let James say what that is after, I explained it to him when we got back. So I guess you can tell them kind of why I'm a little more emotional
than normal.
Yeah, than normal.
So last night we got an email from FCI. If you don't know, FCI has several locations. I don't know, probably 12. And they send out emails, I guess maybe also from your specific nurse. Mm-hmm. But you also get emails company-wide from all of FCI. And we got an email. I don't know how well you can see it, but essentially saying because of COVID, because they've been having an increase of COVID cases. The city of Chicago is, as of now, it's just the city, but it will probably be the state. The city of Chicago is not allowing people to come into the city from a list of 15 states. Mm-hmm. As of now, Michigan, or really none of the Midwest states, are on that list. And that's how we've been able still to come. I think this started a couple days ago. Mm-hmm. And so that's why we were still able to come today and finish our ERA. Also, we just got this last night anyway. But not only are they closing down the city to all those states, including possibly Michigan and Wisconsin, but they're also looking at closing the entire state of Illinois to those other states, including Michigan and Wisconsin. Which, if they close it down just the city, I don't know, maybe we can work around and come around the city and come to the north suburbs. But if they close the entire state down, then I don't see how we will be able to come here for a transfer or any other doctor's appointments. Which means, we know we're going to take at least 2 weeks off because we have to wait for the biopsy to come back. If they close that down, we may have to pause this for longer than we expected. So, we knew that was always, I guess, a very slight possibility. Things seem to be opening more up in Michigan and Illinois. So, obviously, I'm not happy with the decision, but I guess it is what it is, and we trust God that He knows what's best for us and our family, and He's always gotten us through everything, including all of our fertility struggles. And so we're just thankful to have gotten the ERA done. Obviously, you want to transfer the next available cycle after you do your ERA, so it's most beneficial.
Right.
So I'm assuming if we do have to wait, we probably won't redo the ERA. Obviously, it all depends on the results we get. If the results come back that no, you're at the perfect window, then we probably won't change anything anyway. But if they come back as you need, at least 12 hours or more, we'll probably just go ahead with that. But it all depends on, I guess, how long we're postponed.
And we don't know yet if that's what's going to happen, but after the test was over, I talked with my nurse and signed papers, and that's what she was telling me was that she's working really hard with some of these other top doctors with our specific situation. We're not the only ones that travel to Fertility Centers of Illinois because they're a pretty good clinic. A lot of people travel from out of state, so they're trying to figure out like what the best option is for us. Like, is there something that we would have to do? The biggest issue is us coming in from another state, so back and forth. Like, if I moved here for like the next month and a half until transfer was over, then I'd be fine. But of course we have lives and we have work we have to go through, and it's just not a possibility to us. We can't do that. So it's definitely disheartening because I'm not trying to get my hopes up at this point now knowing this. I have a feeling that this will come to fruition. She kind of made it sound like this is inevitable. It's just a matter of like, what does that mean for us? So it's uncertain and it's scary and it's hard because like James said, as soon as the ERA test is done, like you want to do the transfer the next time. You don't have to, but that's like the time, like the window is going to be the closest. So like if we waited 6 months, 8 months, another year or something till we could do this again, just be coming back to Chicago, there's like a chance where it's like, okay, you probably should want to redo that test because we don't want to waste the opportunity that we have for the embryos. We don't want to just transfer blindly. That's not our goal. Our goal has always been to give them the 100% best that we can, and that's what we're trying to do. So it's just hard knowing that we may not get to move forward after going through all of this and getting to the end, but there's more than likely a plan, and it's a better one than the one we think we have for ourselves. And a good note, the doctor did say that I had a really good biopsy. I had a lot of tissue. He does this all the time, so he actually held up my lining jar and showed me. He was all excited about all the tissue he collected, which I kind of thought was gross. James probably would have been more interested in that because he has like that medical mind.
Did they measure it?
They didn't measure the lining because they didn't do an ultrasound, but last time we were here the week before the ERA, my lining was 13 point something, which is really good. They want it to be at least an 8, I believe. So that's probably why he got a good biopsy. These emotions aren't coming from the procedure itself. I think that's mostly just because of we don't know what the future holds for us to be able to transfer and try again. We waited quite a long time after our last failed transfer, and then once you get hopeful, it's like you can't enjoy the rewards of the next opportunity. It's just kind of disheartening.
So the email we got last night did say that it is a possibility that maybe some people will be exempt because it is a medical procedure. I don't know if that'll be the case or not, but I guess we'll see. We think it's important to show the raw reality of what things are, and sometimes things are awesome. Sometimes infertility is a struggle and it's difficult, and other times obviously it's really rewarding. So
that's something that I think we will be praying about a lot, is our hearts and God's will to just be evident. So if it's not what he wants for us just yet, he wants us to wait some more, like just to give our hearts peace. But if it is time to go forward, that again, he just gives our hearts peace. It's a lot to go through either direction, I think. That's just the reason why infertility is referred to as a journey, not a sprint or a race. Most of the time it's a long process and it takes a lot out of you.
So if you've had an ERA, just put it in the comment section and just kind of explain how it was and I guess what you felt of it, and if the results were helpful for you guys in your journey. Thanks for watching, and we're gonna head home.
Yep.
So proud of you.
We don't need no more. Even in the hard times, you and I can weather any storm.
All right, so this is a little off subject, I guess. We decided that it was time to take a walk, and James wanted to see St. Joseph's, Michigan, right? St. Joseph, Michigan. So we decided to take a break here. We changed clothes, and we're gonna try to catch some sunshine. We hated leaving the vlog someplace where we were sat being sad, so we're gonna take a little excursion onto the beach and just enjoy some sun rays. We actually haven't been on the beach at all this summer. I think we've been too focused on everything going on in our fertility journey, so sometimes you just gotta say, all right, it's time to go have some fun and explore a little bit.
Sure is bright.